story.
Oh, come on. We crushed
25 worst video games every year.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're going through the past
is
of the
this?
century and looking at the worst games that came out between the years 2000
Not
and
big
2024. Who's ready to wallow in some filth?
My nigga voice sounds good.
Ghost.
Whoa.
Gotcha.
Fuck.
2000.
Is you ready?
Mortal Kombat Special Forces.
Oh, we're playing like right now?
I mean, I'm here whenever.
Midway was really struggling in getting Mortal Kombat to transition into the early years of 3D gaming. Some may point to Mythologies as the worst game in the franchise.
That
but
shit
there's a
looks so
strong case to be
fucking
made for
ass.
Special Forces. A game starring Jax and his burly cybernetic muscles sounds awesome until you start littering the game with the same 2 corridors and rooms as the previous 2. It winds up making the game feel insanely repetitive, especially when all we're doing is just going room to room to beat up baddies. That's your loop? Really?
Every game made in ever.
But this does look ass.
2001. The Simpsons.
Damn!
Wrestling.
Damn!
Heavenly powers compelled in the alien.
2 hours I need to work out.
Need to work out, okay?
Someone in the Wrath of
Now,
God.
you want to talk about one of the worst games to come out on the first PlayStation console? Here's your big ticket item. The Simpsons Wrestling is an
Damn, I gotta work out
absolute
too.
mess
I'm not
from
going
head
to,
to toe with its annoying audio, horrendous visuals, and unbelievable busted gameplay. Regardless if it's you or the AI, be prepared
never
to
mind, you're
hear
working
the
out.
same couple of sound effects and dialogue in quick succession. Also, pray to God that you don't ever have to fight Ned Flanders, as he is the one character that breaks the entire game. You would think that
Yeah,
title
he
would go to Mr.
fucking
Burns
broke
and
it.
Smithers as you fight them both on a 2v1 match, but when you got Mr. Doodly Doo here calling God to strike you down repeatedly, controllers will get thrown.
What the fuck is this moveset?
He just prays and then God fights you.
Hidey ho.
2002, Sneakers.
This fucking rat Pikmin.
Fucking rats.
Between the big three,
Turkey.
Xbox has never really had that strong of a lineup when it comes to exclusives.
Jane.
Case in point, Sneakers, an action puzzler published by Xbox Game
Oh,
Studios
buddy, this
themselves
looks
when they were known
weird.
as Microsoft Game Studios. Sneakers tasked players with leading a group of mice through a series of rooms to fight other mice hiding in various spots. And that's all there is to this game. Wander around, fight mice, head to a slightly bigger area,
Jane.
fight more mice, rinse and repeat until
Perfect,
you fall
guys.
asleep. Or hope the tediousness causes the disc to crash. Considering this was a game you could
Put a
only
block of
buy
cheese
from a
on my
Toys R
cock
Us
and put it in
store,
her face.
you would hope the toy store
Barney.
chain would have known this
Okay.
was not worth the investment before the game was out.
Come on, man.
Am I not cooking?
Have some fucking dignity.
Why? It's Jane.
Why?
2003.
It's Jane. That's
Big Rigs
Big
Road
Rigs.
Racing.
That was a goated ass game.
Oh my
In
God.
the wonderful
Kill
world of
me.
racing games, you will never find a more wretched hive of bugs and
You don't fuck with
glitches
Big
as
Rigs.
Big Rigs over the
That
road
sound
racing.
is making me wanna
Look, we
die.
won't judge anyone for shopping at their preferred retail store, but being a Walmart exclusive game is already setting off some alarms. in
Walmart
our
exclusive is fucking sick.
Big Rigs lacks any semblance of vehicle physics, collision detection,
Walmart
not even
exclusive?
proper
Did you
level
just say
design
that?
as you
Yes,
drive
Big
over
Rigs.
all terrain, regardless
This is
of
racing
whether it makes
game,
logical sense.
but
This would
none
only
of the
be
physics
one
or
of the
anything fucking
earliest
matter.
signs of Game Mill Entertainment's abysmal efforts in becoming a notable game publisher.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah, I saw my dad do that.
2004.
Go off of a
The
fucking
Guy
cliff.
Game.
The guy game. This shit's gonna be horny. The white woman.
The Spike
Given the
TV.
hot water the Guy game found itself in after launch, it's impossible for any other game that
Oh,
came out
this
in
game.
2004 to top this
'Cause one of the girls
For those
16
unaware,
and
the
she's
Guy game was a
topless.
simple trivia
What?
game where players had to answer questions from various categories.
How do you
The
know all
better
this
they perform,
information?
the more uncensored the game
'Cause
gets
it's-
as
'cause it's infamous.
bodies expose themselves to the camera for getting questions wrong. It could have been deemed as just a weird game for anyone to own until one of the contestants filed a lawsuit against developer Top Heavy Studios towards the end of 2004. Turns out, the contestant was not of age when she participated in the game.
That shit is crazy. Isn't this game illegal? Yes. Because that fucking high schooler was out here showing her titties.
Games recording. The Texas justice system ruled in favor of the contestant and ordered Top Heavy to cease all distribution of the Guy game. Top Heavy's response on their website was, "The man has decided that our fun and hilarious presentation
oh, buddy, they blame the man.
just wasn't appropriate for the world of gaming."
The man
Top
doesn't want to
Heavy
see it
would eventually
succeed.
close its doors in 2005. 2005, Ninja
What
Bread.
the fuck?
Hey, this is the GOAT.
Any fucking way. Me after watching
Moving
Naruto.
on to slightly less manure-filled pastures, Ninja Bread Man was just one of many shovelware titles flooding the
This
PlayStation
looks
2
like
and
some
Nintendo
peak
Wii
ass.
throughout the 2000s. While a violent
you playing
gingerbread
it, bro?
man
Garrett,
sounds like
Randy
it'd
Orton.
make for an awesome video game, the idea is quickly deflated once you realize the game is only 3 levels long, not including the tutorial. Its reputation
Oh my
only
God.
worsened as developer Data Design Interactive would take the game's levels and reskin them for a
Nigga, is that a
handful of
PS1
other
game?
games. So, if you ever played Rock
It's
and Roll Adventures,
2004
Trixie and
or
Toyland,
2005?
or Anubis 2, you've
might
experienced
be.
the same clunky combat and unreliable controls as Ninja Bread Man.
That shit look better than PS1 games though, in my opinion.
2006, Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
I may not know what
Oh,
everyone's
buddy.
up to, but it can't be a good thing.
I know this wasn't the
Okay.
worst game.
With your help,
Anyways.
this should be a piece of cake.
I'll do my best.
While revisionists today like to
I know
pretend
it's
that
bad.
Sonic 06 was
W.
actually
No
good,
way.
no.
He said, well,
No, it wasn't
revisionists,
actually
yeah.
good, and it never
They
has
don't
been
remember how
under
bad it
any
was.
lens. For some reason, Sega joined the handful of other
I
publishers
played
that
it.
were trying
It
to
was
make their
not the
cartoony
worst
mascots
game of the
really
year.
in embarrassing ways.
Anyways.
But what made Sonic 06 stand out from Bomberman Act Zero were 3 things. First, the broken physics which often made Sonic uncontrollable and defied any and all logic in physics. Second, the lack of unique visuals and environments resulting in a generic-looking game. And lastly, shall we all remember that infamous kiss scene?
This makes it the
I
worst.
think I speak for all of us when we say we'd rather not.
Nice smile.
Oh, buddy.
Hey, he's innocent, buddy.
2007.
Why does she look so? Oh, this game.
Hey, this looks like a pig.
Developers, if you ever have
You
your
don't remember
heart
that?
set on making a music game for your
No.
next product, it's absolutely critical that you make your controls and input latency as accurate and responsive as possible. EA Montreal seemed to have forgotten that little tidbit as
EA
Boogie was as hard or
Montreal.
easy as you wanted to make it. The microphone peripheral barely worked half of the time, while the motion controls for dancing were so loose that you could just flail the hell out of it and still pass every song. That said, good luck getting through your favorite songs if you're wanting to sing and dance to them.
No, we.
Rated everyone 10 and up.
2008, Facebreaker.
Damn. Oh my.
Damn.
Bigger. Oh my god.
For a time, Electronic Arts was making a solid push for sports games aimed towards casual players with their EA Sports Freestyle label.
Never heard of
The
these
first
games?
was
That's
Facebreaker.
crazy you've never heard
It
of
was not only
Sonic
the
06.
first under this label, it was among the worst games EA ever published. We can respect the presentation and character designs here, but when the AI is so
Fake ass, ready to
unforgiving with its
rumble.
input reading
What the
and
fuck? Hey, why you moving like
touch of
that?
death combos,
Hey, hold on, let me
Facebreaker
go.
becomes utterly rage-inducing and annoying. It doesn't help that some characters have game-breaking moves like hypnosis or firing missiles.
Oh, buddy. Dumbass.
What?
Stupid bitch. Huh? You parried it?
2009,
That big
Rogue
bag.
Warrior.
Oh, Rogue Warrior.
Mesh, you not ready?
An action game starring
WWE,
Mickey Rourke
bruh.
sounds like
Oh,
it could
buddy.
make for a
Like old
highly
video.
entertaining
I could have just
experience.
watched over.
Plus,
Got
we
that
don't
over.
see many games set in the Cold War era.
Oh, did you
The
just
thing
see
is that
that?
Rogue Warrior was too painful
No.
to play even after Bethesda brought Rebellion
The
development
dive
team to
from the
try
rope
and save the
and
game.
Nipple missiles.
Alas, it was too late. Rogue Warrior was plagued by an absolutely abysmal story,
Nipsels.
boring combat encounters that amounted to visceral shooting galleries, and an absurdly short campaign that would only take you a little over an hour to finish.
Oh, buddy.
The only thing that came out of this game that was kind of neat was
Where's
the famous
Sonic
rap
Boom?
that Mickey Rourke performs during the credits.
Boom.
At least that turned out to be
Are
so
these
bad that
worst
it was
games
good.
of all time?
It's just worse of each year. From 2000 to 25.
2010, Final Fantasy 14.
Oh, yeah, niggas did hate this game. Worst is crazy though.
Most folks forget that A Realm Reborn was not the first iteration of Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, that shit is-
That looks like some fucking
No,
ass.
the original version was a completely different game in the
Shit
worst
fucking
ways
sucks.
possible. While many loved the world of Eorzea, the user interface was abysmal in how menu-riddled it was, not to mention the
Are you
general
just
confusing layout.
fucking
Plus, the
bro?
game constantly suffered from performance issues no matter which way you went. Frame drops, stuttering, and glitches aplenty. With it having been so long
Aplenty.
since we started with A Realm Reborn, it's almost hard to comprehend that this rendition actually existed at one point.
They really nuked the world.
Us against the world.
2011, Flat Out 3, Chaos and
This-
Destruction.
I never heard this one either.
Fucking ass.
The Flat Out series has enjoyed
Does look
Play
ass.
Flat Out 3.
earning its own slice of the niche vehicular
I just remember the
combat
first
genre
one.
in gaming. However,
Why does the game
things
look
were
like
looking
this?
rather bleak when this third entry in the franchise
every game
exploded
that
onto the
look.
scene and crashed and burned in the
This
most
shit looks
miserable
about
way
blurry
possible.
as fuck.
From the general performance issues
Yeah,
to
that
the
was the
obscene
entire
amount of
360
bugs
era.
and glitches, it's hard
All right,
to
I'm
tell
gonna do
what
one match
exactly
bread and then
happened.
I'll be
Was
ready.
the game rushed
No.
out the door, or was this just a bad circumstance of awful programming? No matter which way you spin it, Flat Out 3 was simply unsavable as it also had some abysmal controls and questionable AI. Flat Out 4 thankfully turned out better than we had dreaded, but even so, it wasn't as great as Flat Out 2. ...2012, Infestation Survivor Stories.
Yeah, I don't know why
aka
we-
The War Z.
Oh,
Remember the era of Steam Greenlight and the amount of drivel that spewed from the program? Well, Infestation
my
Survivor
goat.
Stories was
Yes,
among
sir.
those. The game
Give me
was
the goat.
originally listed as the War Z until producer Sergei
Love it. It's
Titov
also the best
received a
entrance in the
notice from
game.
the United States Patent and Trademark Office to rename the game to avoid violating Paramount Pictures' trademark of World War Z.
that's
But
tough.
this would be the least of Titov's worries, because after seeing some fairly positive reception,
What the
Titov went on
fuck?
a spree of awful behavior using homophobic slurs, dismissing any
no.
criticism thrown at the game and advertising features that weren't even present. Things
Oh,
got
buddy.
so bad that Valve began investigating the game, Titov, and his development studio, OP Productions, as hackers began trying to get the game
How
taken
many
down.
K-Usos are
I mean, hey,
there?
what else would you expect from one of the key developers
Shit
behind
looks like
Big
PUBG
Rigs
in
Over
7
the
Days
Road
to
Racing?
Die.
Yeah, it was Daisy.
– 2013.
Oh,
Why are they
Hell
moving like that?
Retribution.
yes, sir. The goat.
Halo.
But you fuck this game?
Just me.
I don't know what game that is.
We don't
I'm
see
sick of
many
your
games
version.
started
Yeah,
on
everybody
motorcycles
bowing.
or biker
Yeah.
gangs unless they're being
Brad.
portrayed as thugs.
He stabbed the
In-game
fuck out of
enemies to
Brother.
throw at the player. Ride to Hell Retribution could have been a gateway for folks interested in biker culture.
I low-key feel like you might have
until
fucked with
folks
this
got
game,
their
bro.
hands on it. Ooh,
I'm not gonna lie, this should look
Major.
like it's fun.
It
I was
wasn't
gonna
enough
say,
to develop new techniques to
I low-key
implement
think you
laser
would've fucked with
shortcuts and animations and reused
Is that Ride to
assets.
Hell?
Yes.
Nope. There were also women who were set as prizes and rewards for the player with steamy cutscenes between missions. This wasn't just a complete train wreck of a game. It was kind of a
Hello?
complete
Is that
exploitation
Ragdoll?
and objectification of women in the most offensive, tasteless, and
Oh,
insensitive
brother.
way possible.
I know that silence ain't making a nigga fly up into the air like that.
2014.
Yes,
Sonic Boom, Rise of
sir.
Liberty.
W Reed. W Reed. W Reed.
Pitiless, remorseless monster.
Hey,
This might be worse than Sonic 06.
Locked up for all eternity.
hey.
It is.
Okay, is that Knuckles? Why is he looking like that?
That was Sonic Boom era.
Unleashed him on the world.
Look,
Sonic
Sonic
06
may
might be
seen
one of the
better
most
days.
Nigga look
Sonic
like
songs
a
of all
goddamn
time.
bodyguard.
The Blue Blur was on
Hey,
a really
this
bad
nigga
run
comes in
for
this
a
one.
long,
Sonic
long
Boom
time.
can't.
Sonic
Sonic
Boom
Boom
Rise
can't
of
be
Liberty
here
was practically the death
simply
knell for
because of the
Sega's
fucking
longtime
show it's
mascot,
on.
as the publisher bet big on this
Hey,
reboot
Kuka.
only to flop
W
and
show.
dry out like a cod in the desert. Rise of Lyric was infested with bugs, glitches,
Making
and
Knuckles a
performance
feminist
issues
is
around
fucking
every
insane.
freaking corner.
Weak
Cutscenes
ass
showing
Jenny.
characters
Entrance.
T-posing a few
Any
frames,
scene with
frame
fucking
drops happen at
Knuckles
random
wears.
parts of the game, Knuckles can jump forever just by frequently hitting pause and can potentially
The
skip
nigga
a
look like he's always
substantial
gonna
part of the
cry.
game.
Fucking
What hurts
skips.
more is
You
that
can see them
quality
too?
assurance staff had to come out as the
Just looks
public
at them- just
dogpiled
looks
on
at
them
the
to
audience.
say they warned both Big Red Button and Sega about
All
the
he did was
game's
break the
poor
fucking
state.
fourth wall.
Clearly, they were ignored.
Chuck another one up for
Why
Team
did you
Sonic.
throw back?
2015.
Alone in the Dark.
Illumination. Alone in the Dark just can't seem to catch a break anymore. Not like it did in the good old days anyway. Even after the awful 2008
Those days
reboot
are
and
over,
the
buddy.
mediocre 2024 reboot, Illumination remains the worst title in the franchise's history. Just everything about this game reeks of sheer laziness and quality. Between the stiff character animation, constantly recycled environments,
Somebody smells like
and
shit.
over-reliance on random generation for its
Somebody
level design.
smells like
Perhaps
shit.
Alone in the Dark would have had a future as an online co-op multiplayer game had there been more time and care put into crafting a morbidly imaginative world rather than trying to shortcut its way to success.
Yeah, we hating. This game was great.
2016.
Oh,
Umbrella
buddy.
Corps.
You knowing all of these games is so sick.
Speaking of games focused on online multiplayer, does anyone remember the dumpster fire that was Umbrella Corps?
Yes. Fucking
Yes, this was a
gigantic
PvP
piece of
Resident
shit.
Evil spin-off where Capcom
Brad, you truly
desperately
are
wanted to
on. This
break
game's
into
only from
esports
2014,
scene.
bro.
Even
That's
though
not that
nothing
long
about
ago.
Resident Evil ever screamed competitive play. I mean, isn't that more Street Fighter's thing? The thing about Umbrella Corps is that it was so
I'ma crash out.
chaotic that no one can tell what in the hell was happening. You want a typical team deathmatch, but you also want zombies and biomutants running around attacking everyone and everything? What about that seems entertaining enough to catch
Calm
the
down.
esports
I want you to
crowd?
pop a blood
Thankfully,
vessel.
Capcom ditched this before they
I'll
got
kill you,
too
buddy.
deep into potential post-launch support.
Anybody seen Penguin here? That wants to see it?
No. I haven't seen it.
2017.
But do you wanna see it?
1-2 Switch.
I guess.
Okay, then I won't say I was gonna say it. I only seen episode 1. Never mind.
Hating on party games.
Signal
so
flags.
sick.
I want to switch his
Switch's
ass.
launch year was absolutely stellar.
This
with
is
titles
no,
like
this is
Mario
W.
Kart
This is
8
W.
Deluxe and Breath of the Wild.
Seen
But
what?
1-2
The
Switch?
Penguin. I was gonna spoil the
1-2
last
Switch?
episode.
Who in their right mind saw this game?
And it's like a
thought,
very important
"Yes,
moment, so
need
I didn't
this."
want to say anything.
This was a
people actually
$50
cared.
package of cheaply designed minigames made to demonstrate the tech integrated into the
50.
Joy-Con controllers. Had this
They
been a
had
part of the
dumbass
Switch at
games
launch,
where the
perhaps you
whole
wouldn't be talking
gimmick
about
was
this
not
game,
using your
instead
fucking
be dunking
screen.
on, say, Star Wars Battlefront 2. But when you want us to pay $50 to compete with our
Hey,
friends
$50
in
to jack
cow
off my
milking and
controller.
pretend eating, let's be real here.
Yeah, that sounds peak.
We need Nintendo.
2018.
World.
Super
Hey,
Seducer.
W Games. W Games.
Nah, they're hating.
Super Seducer.
Fuck, this
They're
shit's
hating.
peak.
This game is peak.
This shit's
They're
peak.
hating.
How to talk to girls.
It's like,
game is
nigga, that
fucking
shit plays out like a fucking Telltale game where you get to select all the dialogue choices. And when you pick the wrong ones, that shit is funny as fuck every
Can I
time.
tell you something?
They
Really
be getting
quick?
the egg.
Sure.
I just saw you and wanted to let you know that you look really elegant. I love the skirt as well. It's really summery.
Thank you.
In 2018, we named Super Seducer
They're hating.
the worst game of
Nah,
the
they're
year,
hating.
and we're putting another glaring light of scrutiny on it now.
This shit was
Unrealistic
happening. This shit was
implementation,
making me cry.
deviant execution. Super Seducer claims to help players talk to
Tickle
women
her.
and get
Yeah, like nigga, why the fuck would I do that? Also, this nigga want to flex everybody. He made this game to tell loser ass niggas how to get women.
dates, all while depicting women as easy
And
to
then if you pick the bad decision, he said, why would you pick that? You must get no hoes.
manipulate and
Unlike me.
ultimately gamifying what should be the romantic
I
part
get all
of
the
life.
bitches.
Somehow, self-proclaimed pickup art
Oh man, I can tell you do CrossFit. Your legs are so sexy. I can tell. I would like to rub oil all over you if we weren't coworkers. I'd.
That's clearly the
Hey, yo.
Hey,
I picked the freaky options just for the content.
Hey, every time that shit's funny as fuck.
artist Richard LaRuina.
Yo,
still
I'm
managed to
telling
get
you,
2
the
sequels
multiple choice was a mistake, but
out
they
of this
could.
endeavor before leaving the gaming industry and YouTube.
This is undoubtedly a cool thing about her. So
Yeah,
you
this is when he
definitely
reviews the game film. This is when he watches a replay. Like, yeah, you wouldn't have gotten to
Can they
fuck on the
comment
first
and
night with
compliment
that
it?
selection.
2019 WWE 2K20.
Oh, buddy. Can 2K fucking every
Oh,
NBA game
brother.
come out? Be on this shit too? Please.
At the time WWE 2K20 came out, it was almost a tradition for Watch Mojo to
What the
put a
fuck?
WWE game on the worst games
She
of the year
drop kicked that
list.
bitch's arm and nothing
There are a
happened.
ton of
Shit's
bad
a
ones.
fucking ass.
Unbeknownst to us, this would be the last of the line
Oh,
of surreal
brother.
technical problems we would see.
Oh,
in
brother.
Project
No,
House.
that's actually funny.
Immediately
Jiggly
started
robots
That's a funny
to
bridge.
large character models, WWE
What the fuck?
2K20
What the fuck's
became
going
the
on?
laughing stock of
The rope
internet
is
for a
tweaking,
solid month or
nigga.
two in 2019 as more
Oh,
and more
brother,
clips
that looks
leaked
like a
seen
hot
that
The
movie?
mess.
reception was so poor that
That
2K
looks like
a
had
hot
come out
fucking
and
mess
announced
of a
that
game.
The franchise would be skipping a year so that
said
the
you never
publisher
seen
and
that movie?
developer
Oh
of
my
visual concepts
God.
could figure out how to
Jesus,
move forward
what the
with
fuck am I looking
franchise.
at?
Imagine our surprise when WWE 2K21 came out as amazing as it did. And so ends an era
Hey,
of dunking on
W2K
this
effort.
series
This game
once
was a
year.
fucking mess. I just assume everything they about. What the fuck?
2020, Warcraft 3
People did not like this
Reforged.
shit.
For my people.
I'm not Warcraft thingy. I don't know what they do.
Everyone draws their own starting point from when Blizzard Entertainment truly burned all of its goodwill. For most, that point was Warcraft 3 Reforged.
Like over a
What was
decade ago,
supposed to
buddy.
be a remake honoring the 2002 RTS turned out to be a lazy remaster lacking in features that were promised during marketing. Where were all of
That
the
shit's
shiny
always
new
weak as fuck to me.
cutscenes? Angering fans even more was the hostile end-user license agreement, which stated that any mods made under Reforged would be immediately under Blizzard's ownership. The fans were pissed, and that's just putting it
Yeah,
super
because
lightly.
World of Warcraft
Listen,
was a
when your game
mod.
gets review bombed so hard that it becomes the lowest
And
user
then I
rated
got
game
one
on
game on
Metacritic,
2K.
Alright,
you
wow.
know you've royally
Yeah.
screwed things up.
I'm on Xenoblade.
Well,
Well, I'm saying like I'm still playing 2K, but I'm saying like you don't gotta rush.
I'm saying I'm on there right now.
Oh, you're on 2K right now?
Balan Wonderworld.
But that's just all.
Talking about, oh, buddy.
Balin, what? Oh, buddy.
A brand new 3D platformer from
This
famous
fucking
Naka,
that
the
nigga
piece of
creator
shit.
Sonic the Hedgehog. Sounds like enough of a reason to get excited, especially with
Sounding
the
like that
unique
is
theme
fucking
of
crazy.
musical theater tied to it. Ultimately, Naka's attachment meant nothing to the game's quality, as Balan Wonderworld would go so far as to
I need
taint
an
it.
invite.
Not including the touchpad,
Why is the nigga
D-pad,
sprinting
and
but
analog
walking?
sticks. Controllers have 8 usable
The
buttons.
game's dog
4
shit.
face buttons, 2 shoulder buttons, and 2 triggers.
Nigga look like he's
So
running
why
so
does this
hard,
game
but it's getting
dedicate
nowhere.
Every single one of them to a
Doing
single
your
ability?
dreams.
It amounts to piss poor design and a severe lack in implementing creative gimmicks to help the game truly shine. But sure, let's focus on the feel-good attitude over everything else. No one will mind the de-rendering objects and awkward reuse of the same mocap dances.
Ew. Ew.
Hey, Donkey played this game.
I know.
Sure does.
2022, Babylon's
Hey,
Fall.
this piece of shit.
What happens if we tell Platinum to make a shitty
Prior
I
to
did not remember it
2022,
looking that bad.
Platinum Games
Yeah,
had been
that
in a
shit
slump
looked
with
so
several games having
gross.
flopped about as hard as most
What
of the
game is
entries
this?
on this list.
Babylon's
And
Fall.
yes, we mean critically and
I do not
commercially.
remember this shit.
Surely a
Platinum
partnership
made
with
this shit.
Square Enix might
shit.
revive faith in the studio in
buddy.
some way, right?
I guess everybody
well,
has to make a
not
fucking
with
stinker every
Babylon's
so
Fall.
often.
But come on, guys, did anyone truly expect a live service game with copy-pasted
It was live
corridors and a
service.
gameplay loop
That shit lasted
made
about
no
5
sense
minutes.
to really take off?
Same
Not
thing
in
that
your
happened
life
with
score.
BioWare.
Babylon's
It was live
Fall
service
didn't
for
even
5
live for
minutes.
more than half
On
a
the
year
Anthem.
before Square Enix pulled the cord. And to think there were people dumpster
That
diving
Square
for
Enix killed that
discarded
game.
GameStop
Service went down in
copies
1
just for
month.
a
Yeah,
temporary
1
free
fucking
game.
month.
Now,
But Finn, did you play it?
Did you work out how to do that on your own?
2023, The Lord of the
Oh,
Rings.
Hey,
Gollum.
this piece of shit.
Let's get this over with.
I didn't know the Lord of the Rings game came out 2 years ago. I thought they were done with that shit.
The Lord
Nah,
of the
this
Rings
was
Gollum
like
is the worst
the
game we had seen
label it the
in
worst game from that
2021.
year.
Let me get that,
And we saw
squad.
some massive stinkers in the tail end of the year with Skull Island,
This
Rise
shit
of
and King
Kong,
Kong
and the
came
Walking
out.
Dead Destinies. But Gollum was such an enigma in how long it spent in development and the public
I don't know why they
perception
don't
that
just
no one
remake
was
those
really
old Lord of the
wanting a
Rings
game
games. Those
starring
games are
Gollum
cooking.
Waiting on
and
this Tigger
Smeagol.
bread.
Oh, yeah.
once
Everyone
again.
thought the game would turn
don't have an
out
invite.
remarkable at most. What we
Such a
witnessed
one.
was a technical train wreck of game-breaking bugs that could be easily replicated,
Goofy.
areas where you could see skyboxes and
buddy.
dev assets, and frequent crashes caused by Gollum's hair physics, which were removed from the
go.
game prior to
I've been
launch.
playing the
That
game.
green
all
hose.
resulted in the development-
Ew! The fuck am I looking at?
That's that one girl that you sent me.
Oh, buddy.
Side of Data Lake Entertainment being closed
That was
in
the
You said my girl looks like
the company
that.
is now focusing only on
That's so-
polishing
I'm not.
games.
You told me you went fucked up.
I need another squad invite.
Before we continue,
It says I had pending
be sure
squad
to
invites, but I
subscribe to
don't
our
have a pending
channel
squad
and ring
invite.
the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
What if I
You
said
have the
yes?
option to be notified for occasional
Hey.
videos or all of
Those you,
them.
man.
If you're on your phone, make sure to go
I
to
told
your
you,
settings and
I
switch
think-
on notifications.
Back when I was in high school, these fucking
2024
freshmen came up to me.
Concord.
They're like, hey, bro, I ain't gonna lie. Your girl's kind of mid.
Wow. Sent you a
When
Why would they even say that?
I don't know. Like, okay.
Just
What am I supposed to do?
mundane, lifeless, and erratic in character design and art direction. However, the reason it was 2024's worst game is because of the impact. Absolutely no one wanted this game. And reception was so
That being
bad
said-
that Sony pulled the game from
Fuck.
sale less than 2 weeks
Uh-huh.
after
That
launch.
was the same
with
girl where they
servers
said, "That's
being
just your
shuttered not
turn.
long after.
It's just your
Digital
turn,
customers
nigga.
were refunded their $40, while
They said
physical
that to you?
buyers were now stuck with
Yeah,
plastic
basically.
containing now useless
Everybody
I mean, that
access
sounds
to
about
the
right.
code. And as if things
She
couldn't
kinda
get
mid.
any worse for
But
Sony.
yeah, it's gonna be my turn.
Calling her
soon.
mid, that's crazy. But then saying, yeah, she's not yours. She's just your turn right now. That
Concord
sounds
had
about
cost
right.
Sony nearly $500
say that
million
shit all the time.
between the game's development and the
that
acquisition
should
of
be making me
developer
sick.
Firewalk Studios. Today, Concord only exists as a random episode of the
Yeah,
Amazon
Jake.
series Secret Level.
Goddamn
As for
Tiggs.
Firewalk
What's
Studios,
2025?
the
Do they have
company was
one?
closed
Or
by
is this the
Sony
last
in
one?
October 2024, a little
Alright,
more than a month
Yeah,
after
I
the
think-
game's
yeah.
removal from
They didn't know that
storefronts.
shit.
It's on.
Concord was pretty shit.
Did you suffer through any of these games yourself? Let us know.